Jungian typology is marred by a bias in favor of N-types. Sensation types are commonly denigrated, and the argument is often advanced that so-and-so can't be an S because he is smart, ingenious, academic, creative, or a good scientist. In part, this bias is understandable. Most people start out by reading about sensation types from resources where N types are described at their best, while describing the S types are described based on their average. And while we have a lot of respect for Isabel Myers, her work too is biased. It lauds the N types while passing over the S types without getting excited. Another culprit is David Kiersey's work, where N types are described as synonymous with everything creative and smart, while the S types are described as mindless worker drones. Little wonder then that actual ISTJs do not recognize themselves in the ISTJ description. So as we have seen, most modern sources on Jungian typology perpetuate the notion that N types are cool and intelligent, while S types are stupid and boring. Yet, going back to Jung and his progeny, that is not how they viewed sensation. In fact, Jung repeatedly stressed that he found ST and not NT to be the default scientist type. Jung possibly thought that Isaac Newton was an S type, and he made it clear that in his system is not so much sciency or logical, but more like a prophet, a crackpot voice crying in the wilderness. So much for Kiersey's rational masterminds. What appears to have happened was that intuition was a misnomer from the start. It should more properly have been called introspection, reflection, association, or some such. Because of this misnomer, it has been very easy for people to think that anything having to do with creative imagination and so on pertains to the domain of intuition. As even many Jungians have admitted, Jung was not very apt in naming his terms or applying them consistently. And the case of intuition appears to be just such a case. In fact, Jung explicitly rejected the notion that fantasy and creativity was some special property of the intuitive types. Likewise, sensation is also a crude misnomer, reducing the mental activity of S types to the mindless and autonomous functioning of the five senses. Another thing that has happened is that intelligence has been conflated with intuition. Thus, we get the familiar argument that since Bill Clinton is very smart and a Rhodes Scholar, he cannot be an S type, and related arguments concerning Churchill, Steve Jobs, and others. But intelligence has nothing to do with type. This is another point that Jung explicitly cautioned against, saying, intelligence is not a function, but a modality. The word tells us no more than how a function is working, not what is functioning. Or, as we like to phrase it, Steve Jobs' NI is tertiary, but it's better than yours. Not all viewers will agree with us that this is the correct way to conceive of the SN split. Some will prefer a dimension that deals with openness rather than sensation and intuition. To them, we would say that they should study the Big Five personality system instead of Jung's typology. Others will want a tool that measures cognitive abilities and intelligence. To them, we would recommend the study of IQ and IQ testing instead of Jung's typology. Others are still attracted to typology not because they want a tool that helps them understand and appreciate others, but because they want a system that confirms to them that they are superior to others. To them, there is no good advice.